sure you're waiting for the next story in the series on woman power. So here goes. Today's story is about the brave and courageous and extremely determined daughter of the hills, Rani Gaidinliu from northeastern India. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. Gaidinliu was born on 26th January 1915 in the Nungkau village in Tamenglong district of Manipur. She was the fifth among the 8 children born to her parents. There were no facilities to attend school. There was no school in their village, so she did not receive any formal education, but she was a very smart and clever girl. When she was about 13 years old, she joined a movement called the Haraka movement, which was initiated by her cousin Haipao Jadonang. His aim was to unite all the Naga tribes and revive the Naga culture and traditions and religion, and get rid of the social ills, some of the ritual sacrifices, etc., to help the people and to fight against the British rule. Because those days the people in the northeastern region were really suffering. The British had imposed taxes on every household, and they would get free labor from everyone, whether it was a man or a woman, without paying them anything. So people were really suffering, and so to fight against the British, the Haraka movement, the Haraka means pure. So Jadonang had initiated this, and Gaidinliu joined this. When she was about 16, what happened was that Jadonang was arrested by the British. They held some mock trial and hanged Jadonang in the prison. So Gaidinliu took over the leadership of this movement. She composed so many songs and made the people sing them and dance, and spoke to all the people of the Naga tribes. She tried and united all of them. She even listened to the speeches of Mahatma Gandhi, and she was quite influenced by his teachings. So she told her people about all that and motivated them to fight against the British rulers. On February 16, 1932, with her followers, she waged a war against the Assam Rifles, which were actually the British forces. Then again on March 18th, another conflict with the Assam Rifles in a different place. She had to keep on moving from one village to the other to escape from the British, because they had announced a reward on her head. They said whoever gives us information about Gaidinliu would get, initially they said 200 rupees, and then they increased it to 500 rupees and said that any village that informs about Gaidinliu's whereabouts would be exempted from tax for 10 years. Incentives they gave. But the Naga villagers, all the people from the various villages, they were strong supporters of Gaidinliu, and nobody informed the British about her. So she was moving from one place to the other, and her supporters felt that it is time to build a proper fort where she can stay. So they started building a fort in Pulao village, Puloma Puloma village. That was in October 1932. The British people, they came to know through their spies that this was happening. And what they did was that this Mr. MacDonald, he misled the Naga people by sending his forces in the opposite direction. So Gaidinliu and her people thought that, okay, so they don't know that we are building the fort here, and so they have gone in the other direction. But Mr. MacDonald, he attacked them suddenly, and without resistance, Gaidinliu and all her followers were arrested, and many of her supporters were executed, some were put in prisons, and a trial was held for Gaidinliu, and that went on for about 8 months. After that, she was given life imprisonment. So she was shifted from one prison to the other over the years in Assam, in Aizawl and Tura. In the year 1937, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he visited Assam, and from the people there he came to know about Jadonam, the way he was killed, and the story of this Gaidinliu, this young girl who was just, 19 or 20. So he went to the prison to meet this young girl. And when he met her, spoke to her, heard her story from her, and saw that her spirit had still not been dampened, she was still the enthusiastic person who wanted to fight against the British for her people. So he was quite impressed with her, and he felt so bad that this girl was in prison. So when he went back, well, before he left, he promised this girl that he would try and get her out of prison. So when he went back to Delhi, he tried his best. He spoke to the secretary of the British lady and requested her to release Gaidinliu from prison. But the British authorities completely refused to release her. They said, oh, she is a great danger, so we cannot release her. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru wrote an article in the newspaper about Gaidinliu, saying that she is a brave girl, she's the daughter of the hills, and he gave her the title Rani Gaidinliu. She said the people love her and she should be released, but so many people in India do not even know that this girl is sacrificing her life, spending her youth in prison. She's rotting in prison. We all should do something about it. So he wrote quite a strong article in the paper. But nothing could be done till India attained independence in the year 1947. So in October 1947, Gaidinliu was finally released from the prison, but still her movements were restricted. And of course, she was still enthusiastic, and as soon as she came out again, she spoke to all her supporters, and she wanted to do good to all her people. She wanted to unite all the Naga tribes. But by then, what had happened was lots of missionaries had converted many of the people in the Naga communities. And so those people started opposing Gaidinliu because they thought that she was backward, because she was talking about traditions and culture. And these other people who had converted thought that they themselves were highly modern, and so they did not like what Gaidinliu was saying. Then in the year 1960, Gaidinliu along with her 1,000 supporters had to go underground. For 6 years she was in hiding. Then later, well, before that she tried her best to talk to all the leaders. She had met Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. She also met Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And then later on, in the year 1966, a deal was made with the government, and she came out of hiding and she said that whatever she does, it will be peaceful. And her aim was to stay within India. She did not ask for a separate country or something. She just wanted that all the Naga tribes should be united and they should be under one administration, but within the Indian government. So she was a nationalist and a freedom fighter too. So she received the Tamrapatra Freedom Fighter Award from Indira Gandhi in the year 1972. In 1982, she received the Padma Bhushan Award. In 1983, she was awarded the Vivekananda Seva Medal by some other organization. And in the year 1993, at the age of 78, she breathed her last. But throughout her life, she fought for the good of her people. She had only the welfare of her people in her mind. She sacrificed her youth, everything. And in fact, she wanted the women to come forward, and so she had trained the women and she taught them how to use the sword and the spears, and she motivated them to fight against the British before she was arrested. So she was against patriarchy and she was so forward thinking that she wanted the women to come forward. And in the year 2010, a ship was named after her. It was called Rani Gaidinliu. And in 2015, a coin was released in her honor because that was the year of her centenary. And a little before that, a stamp was released in her honor too. And so, we should all do our bit by remembering such unsung heroes who sacrificed their lives for the welfare of our country. Yeah? And now we come to the end of this story. I will be back again with my next story soon. Till then, it is bye.